Dear civil service students, fortunately, a friend of mine, Mr. Rajnath Bakshi, happens to visit Chennai. He is here to deliver a keynote address in a seminar in a university in Chennai. He is a person with long-standing experience in English teaching, English literature, and linguistics. He was the director of English and Foreign Languages University in Lucknow, and he also taught for several years in Saudi Arabia. One of the persons with great experience as a teacher, as a writer, and as a very intelligent person. So I requested him, I said, why don't you address our students and tell them how to write a good essay? So now I request Mr. Bakshi to tell you how to organize your essay.
Today we will be discussing how to write an essay in any public examination. Now, before I talk about an essay, I would like to mention that an essay comprises a large number of paragraphs. The paragraphs can be 4, paragraphs can be 5. It depends on the length of the essay. So, before we discuss how to write an essay, I would like to first discuss how to write a paragraph, because paragraphs can be of different kinds. So, let me start with a very simple essay that is given at the school level or at the early university level. That is what we call the descriptive essay. Now, if we look at the descriptive paragraph, or for that matter any paragraph, it will have a topic sentence or a topic idea. So, what we mean by topic essay or topic idea is that a paragraph describes only one particular aspect. So let's say we are talking of a room, and the topic idea or the topic sentence might be this room is very big, and then you may give the description of that room, that this room is 30 feet by 30 feet in dimension. It has got 4 doors, it has got 10 windows, and it has got 10 fans, and so on and so forth. So therefore, the concept of the topic sentence should be very clear to you. Now, once I talked of the topic sentence, what I mean by this is that a topic sentence can be in the beginning of a paragraph, it can be in the middle of a paragraph, or it can even be at the end of a paragraph. Some paragraphs do not have any topic sentence, but the topic idea is there, around which a particular paragraph is developed, Now, my advice to you would be that whenever you write a paragraph, the topic sentence should be right in the beginning. The first sentence should be the topic sentence. It is easier for you to develop from there, Now, once we are talking of the descriptive paragraph, it gives the description. We have to look at what kind of sentence, structure or tenses are used. In a descriptive paragraph, most of the times we use present tense, because it is the description. But you can also use past tense in case you are writing about something like, let's say, describing the Rashtrapati Bhavan, then you might talk about something that happened in the past. So this is what we talk about, when we talk of the descriptive paragraph. Then I come to the second kind of a paragraph, which is called a narrative paragraph. Now, narrative paragraph describes something that happened in the past. It's almost like, your own experience. For example, you might like to say that last summer you spent your vacation in Shimla. So you start with that, And then you have to keep in mind that whenever you go to the next sentence, it should be in the chronological order. That has to be kept in mind, You can't go back and forth, For example, what happened first, what happened next, and so forth. You have to give that. The third type of a paragraph is comparison and contrast. For example, you may compare and contrast the economies of two countries, let's say India and China. I will come back to this, when we will discuss an essay which is based on comparison and contrast. But again, the most important thing is the topic idea. You should take one idea and develop it, It will be a very bad strategy to have 2 or 3 ideas within a paragraph, because it first of all, it doesn't look nice, then it is difficult to understand, and also the examiner will not give you good marks, if you have 2 or 3 topic ideas or topic sentences in a paragraph. The last one that I am going to discuss, and which is probably the most important in any competitive exam, is the argumentative paragraph. These are the kinds of essays that come, because you have to give a particular topic in the beginning. In the case of an argumentative paragraph, you have to develop that argument, and this is the kind of thing that you do in the case of a paragraph. Now I come to an essay. Now an essay is nothing more than a combination of, let's say, 5 or 6 paragraphs. It all depends. Whether you have to write an essay in 600 words or 1000 words or 1200 words or 2500 words. Naturally, your number of paragraphs will increase or decrease. But let me start with the essay. First of all, very much like the paragraph, the essay has an introduction. So the first paragraph should be the introductory paragraph. Then you have got the body of the essay, in which you can develop your paragraph through different topic sentences, and finally it is the conclusion that we think of here. Now, let me first start with the introductory paragraph. In the introductory paragraph of an essay, you have to give the introduction to the essay, and there should be a topic sentence and also a thesis statement. Now, what we mean by a thesis statement is that it gives you the nutshell of the whole paragraph. You should be able to, for example, you might be now talking about the recent economy of India, then it should be very clear to the reader. Please remember that an examiner is also a reader, So you are writing from the point of view of a reader who is going to read your paragraph. So assume that the reader doesn't know anything. You have to explain everything about the... Now, what could be the thesis statement? The thesis statement can be, let's say, whether the economy is on the right path or because of demonetization and GST and all that, whether it has gone down. Now, once you have written your introduction, it is clear that you are going to talk about this particular topic. Then you go to the body of the paragraph. Now, how do we go about that? Let me talk about the recent economy. Let's say you are talking about economy of India. You have given the introduction, and then in the next paragraph, you can talk about demonetization and concentrate only on demonetization. It is up to you. You want to write in favor of demonetization, but you have to prove it, You want to write against demonetization, you have to prove it. Or I would say the better option would be that you give both the positive and the negative aspects of demonetization. That will make an examiner, understand that you have understood the concept of demonetization very clearly. You want to write 2 paragraphs, no problem, you can do that, Then the next paragraph can be on GST, or 2 paragraphs on GST. It depends, how you are going to, how long you are going to write the essay. So you can talk about then the recent event where, the government is going to take nearly 1,75,000 crores of rupees from RBI. Now, no one knows what would be the effect of this, but you can give your own opinion about this, Again, my advice would be that you should be able to write about both the positive as well as the negative effects of the paragraph. If you want to give any examples, you can give the examples, because recently people have been talking against this loan that the government is taking from the government, because this happened several years ago in Argentina, and but that doesn't mean the same thing will happen to India, because this is a worldwide phenomenon. And finally, you have to give a conclusion. Now, in the case of the conclusion, you have 2 choices here. One is summarize whatever you have said, That I think that is the easiest way to conclude your essay, You can start with the introduction, use the thesis statement and the topic sentence in the introduction, rewrite it in different words, and then go on to the next paragraph. Again, the topic sentence can be rewritten in different words, and you can write a very nice conclusion, Now, coming to, this was basically, I was talking about, argumentative essay, because usually in the competitive exams, you do not have descriptive essays or narrative essays. You have maybe comparison and contrast, but most of them are argumentative essays. But I will talk on comparison and contrast, because it's possible that there can be a question on the economies of India and China. In this case, there are 2 ways, of writing an essay on comparison and contrast. Now, what are these 2? Again, we have to make a difference between comparison and contrast. Comparison means where there are similarities between the 2 topics that you are undertaking, And contrast is where the differences are there, Now, there are 2 ways of developing a comparison and contrast essay. One is, let's say you are talking about the economies of India and China. You write everything about India. Keep whatever things you have written about India, the same things you will write about China. So you have to be very careful, So let's say you have written 3 introductory paragraph, then you write 3 paragraphs on India, and then you write 3 paragraphs on China. They should be the same. What I'm trying to say is, let's say you have written the introductory paragraph. Now you start with India. You can talk about the GDP of India, for example, in your second paragraph, which is the first body paragraph of the essay. Then when you come to the second one, you can talk about industrialization. What kind of industries are there in India? What are they manufacturing? Cars, whether India is able to produce iPhone or Samsung, and whatever be the case, And similarly, when you go to China, your first essay on China will be on the GDP of China. You can't start with the, let's say, industrialization of China, because that will not read very well, So this is one thing, And then you go to the second topic where you talk about the industrialization of China, because many industries, American particularly companies have their, plants set up in China. They give their specifications and things are made, This is one way of doing. Probably the better way will be to take up one area and write in the same paragraph, about India and China. Let's say we talk about the GDP of India and China. Finish it in the first body paragraph. That means the second paragraph of the essay. So you compare the GDPs of India and China. In the next paragraph, you compare industrialization of India and China. In the third paragraph, maybe you can talk of the effect of pollution, the effect of the depleting of the ozone layer because of industrialization in India and China, and what both the countries are doing. And then you can have a concluding paragraph. Please remember, in the concluding paragraph, you can very easily write the concluding paragraph summarizing what you have talked about in the previous paragraph. This makes it very easy for an examiner to understand what you want to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Bakshi. It was a very useful lecture. I am sure the students would have learnt a lot from this and they are going to benefit a lot. All the best to the students.